Okay, we are live. I apologize for being a few minutes late. I've been trying to get on live, and it was just that continuous circle that says starting live video. I'm not sure what's happening, but I know we have a few people who are on the Wi-Fi, so maybe that is part of it. But I am on now. What I'm going to be talking about today, basically 10 tips for improving your digestion. And I'm going to be going live in the Lead Your Health group right after this, where I'll be discussing these in a little bit more detail. I'll also be discussing a few other things on the live today in that group. And if you haven't yet joined the group and would love to do so, I will post the link below, or you can just simply look for the group on this page, and it's called Lead Your Health. And you can go ahead and simply send in an invitation or a request to join the group. Hi, Miss Nancy. I see that you're there. So if you are not a part of the Lead Your Health group and you would like to be, just simply send in a request to join, and you can come into that group, and we discuss a lot of these topics in a lot more detail. We also discuss topics there that I wouldn't be discussing here on the page itself. Okay, so without further ado, here are 10 tips that will help to improve your digestion. And what I'm going to do after this is go into on separate videos. I will go into each of these in a little bit more detail. Okay, otherwise this video will be extremely long. So tip number 1 is to avoid eating in between meals. Giving your digestive tract a time to kind of build what's called its fire, and giving your digestive tract time to actually digest what's there, rather than constantly piling on something new on top of what it's already trying to work on. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. So first, avoid eating in between meals. Second tip is to drink warm drinks. I know that sounds, it's almost summertime, and the last thing people want to be doing is drinking warm drinks in the middle of the summer. I don't drink cold drinks. I drink warm water, or I drink room temperature water. I do not add ice. I drink, right now it's after 3 and I have my herbal tea right here and it's hot. I choose not to drink cold drinks, because what it does as you're drinking the cold drinks, it hits your stomach and it cools down your digestive system. But you want your digestive system to be warm, ready to digest whatever enters your stomach, right? So if you're adding cold drinks on top of it, it's kind of adding water to a fire. You're putting out your digestive juices, right? So avoid drinking cold drinks. Drink warm drinks, and also avoid carbonated drinks. So you should be drinking things like warm tea, warm water, and that will help to improve your digestion. Tip number 3 is to sit down to eat. And I know this it seems really obvious, but there are a lot of people who I know who don't have dinner around the table. They'll sit in front of the television, or even if they're sitting at the table, there are phones and tablets that are present, and that was the next thing I wanted to say, was to avoid having passive entertainment at the table. Sit down as a family and enjoy your meal. Bite your food, chew your food, enjoy your food. I know it seems really obvious, but it's such an important thing, right? And it shouldn't, because and I know everybody is different. But that's one of the things that actually does bother me, is when I see a phone at the table. And, if it's an emergency, I can understand taking a phone call. But I think when you're around the table with your family, that should be an important time. And unless it's an emergency, you receive a call saying that's an emergency and you've got to go, then that's different. But take the time to sit down and eat your food, enjoy your food, and enjoy the people who are around you in that present time, right? Tip number 4 is to make lunchtime the biggest meal of the day. A lot of people tend to have a good sized breakfast, small lunch, and then their biggest meal is towards the end at dinner time. But that should actually be your smallest meal. Lunchtime should be your largest meal for the day. Come the evening time, you're getting your body ready for rest, so you don't want to be piling a huge meal on top of your digestive system at that point. So make lunchtime the biggest meal of the day. And I did say that I'm going to be going over these in a lot more detail in separate videos, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time here right now. Tip number 5, spice it up. Add things like fresh ginger or even powdered ginger to your foods. I know a lot of people don't necessarily have access to fresh ginger, so powdered ginger will work just fine. Cumin, and a lot of these you can find in your kitchen pantry, in your spice cabinet. So fresh or powdered ginger, cumin, black pepper, turmeric, fenugreek. Those are the herbs and spices that contain certain properties that will help to enhance your digestive system. And in another video, I'm going to be talking about different herbs as well as essential oils that also help to enhance your digestive system. The essential oils will not be used internally. Those are for external purposes only, but I'll talk about those as well in that video. Okay, so tip number 5, spice it up. Number 6, eat less. When your body, and this is another reason why you shouldn't have phones or sit down to watch television while you're eating, because you're not really paying attention to your body. Your body gives you signs as to when it's full. But a lot of the times, if you're paying attention to your phone or you're paying attention to the television, you're not listening to your body actually telling you that it's full, and you keep feeding it and keep feeding it. But your body knows when it's full. So you should stop eating when you're feeling full. And that also helps when you're sitting down with your family eating. You're not doing the mindless, feeding while you're talking amongst each other. You're actually paying attention to the people around you. You're paying attention to your body at the same time. So it's not that mindless eating where you tend to overeat as well. All right, so eat less. Tip number 7 are to eat foods that are filled with what's called prana or life. Prana is just the Ayurvedic term for life. And what does that mean? It means that the foods should not be, they should not come from the center aisles of a grocery store. They should be fresh fruits and vegetables. Now, I know that we don't live in a perfect world, and not everyone is going to be able to do this. I certainly do have some packaged foods, but the majority of my foods do come from fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, that sort of thing. But try to eat foods that are filled with life, because you can't eat something that's dead to give you life. I'm hoping that makes sense. Eating dead foods don't necessarily give you life. Living fresh fruits and vegetables are filled with life. So it does make sense that life is going to give you life. Okay? So try not to eat anything that's processed, any kind of prepackaged foods, and try to avoid eating leftovers. I know that that's kind of hard. Here's another thing: avoid a microwave, because microwaves tend to just kill whatever good there is in foods anyway. So you don't want to kill your food and then try to give your body life by eating food that's dead. All right, so eat foods that are filled with prana or life, and then certain combinations of foods can also be bad, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit here and a little bit more in detail in a separate video. All right, so milk. If you're drinking milk, and I'm talking about like dairy, which you probably shouldn't drink anyway. Let me just digress for a minute. Dairy milk actually produces mucus in the body. And mucus buildup in the body is going to cause congestion in your sinuses, your nose, in your lungs. You're going to feel a little bit more. It happens with me. That's one of the things that I do not drink. And I know my daughter is not supposed to drink milk either, because She's not allergic to milk, but every time she does drink it, it causes a lot of weird reactions in her body. So from the time she was a young age, I realized milk was not good for her, and that was confirmed by her doctor. So dairy milk you should not be drinking anyway, because all it does is and it's not just milk, it's cheeses, and certain things that are made from milk you should not be drinking, or consuming, because they're not good for you. But certain combinations, things like milk with meat, fish, eggs, bananas, yogurt, that kind of or any kind of sour foods, you should not be combining in one sitting. If you're eating fresh fruits, you should not have fresh fruits with anything else. Fresh fruits should be eaten by themselves, or at least if you want to have fresh fruits for dessert, it should be at least 45 minutes after you've eaten your meal. Because fresh fruits eaten too closely together with other foods literally build up gas in your stomach. So you end up feeling bloated after you combine those, fresh fruits with any other foods. You also want to avoid, I just mentioned that, avoid fresh fruits as dessert unless you're eating the fresh fruits far enough, giving yourself enough time in between your meal and the time that you eat the fresh fruits. Tip number 8 is to respect the 24-hour solar day. And what do I mean by that? Your body, and it took me a while to actually understand this, and it was because of my youngest son. From time he was young, very young, he's 14 now, but as even younger, he would not eat breakfast. And I thought when I was dropping him off to school up until 3rd grade, I would drop him off in time to have breakfast while I, give me enough time to get to work. And a few years ago, he told me, he said, Mom, I never ate breakfast. The first time I ate was at lunch. And I said, but you went through all of that time without eating anything? He said, yes, because I just wasn't hungry. And on the weekends when he was with me, I was almost trying to force him to eat breakfast when he would get up in the mornings. But I realized that his particular body doesn't need food until around 11 or 12 o'clock in the afternoon. And to this day, this morning, his first meal was actually at 1:30, because that's how his body is. He's learned at this age that he doesn't need to eat early in the morning. So that's what I mean by respecting your 24-hour body clock, basically. Just because it's popular to eat breakfast at between 6:30 and 9 o'clock in the morning doesn't mean that it's right for you. Just because most people have lunch between 12 and 1 or 2 doesn't mean it's right for you. Your first meal might actually be at 12 o'clock or 11:30. It's entirely up to you. So you do not necessarily have to go according to what everybody else is doing. You have to be able to know what your body is like, what it needs at any particular given time of the day. You might need to eat between 11 and 6, and after that you're good. You don't need to eat anything else after. A lot of people need to eat a little bit longer, but their first meal may not be until later on. So if that's you, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with you. Everybody is different. Okay? Tip number 9, and this is hard for a lot of people. Fast a few times a year. I would say fast at least once a season. Even if you live in a climate where it's hotter and really hot, you still have a little bit of change each time. So I'd say every 3 to 4 months you should be doing a little bit of fasting. Your body needs to be able to detox, be able to cleanse. So you should be fasting a couple times a year. I did do a video on this, so I'll go ahead and post the link in the comments below. Today's April 30th, or tomorrow's May 1st. So I'm going to tell you typically what I do the first 3 days of every month, and I started this several years back. The first 3 days of every month, I do a fast. No solid foods whatsoever. And I drink typically my herbal coffee that I have here. There's no coffee in there, it's just called herbal coffee. I either do the herbal coffee and herbal teas, smoothies, or water, or a combination of that. Typically, the first day is nothing but water, and then I'll have my herbal teas or herbal coffee for the other 2 days. But those first 3 days out of every month, every year, I do a fast, and it works out to be, I guess it would be equivalent of giving like a tithe. So it does work out to be about a tenth of the year that I'm actually fasting. During the Lent season, last year, I didn't do it this year, but last year I actually fasted 40 days. But the way that I broke it up was the first 4 days was water, the next 3 days was smoothies, the second week was really thin soups, like no solids whatsoever, the third week was smoothies, and then leading up to the last few days of the 40 days of Lent, I did a combination of the really thin soups and smoothies. So for the entire 40 days was nothing solid. I will tell you that was not easy. That was probably the most challenging fast I have ever done. I did not do it this year because you can imagine that when you do a fast like that, your weight drops very quickly. And I don't have a problem. It's not difficult for me to lose weight, even at this age. So, but the first 3 days of every month is actually very easy. But you can choose the type of fasting that is good for you. I understand that to physically do 3 days or 2 days, maybe you just want to do a day when maybe that particular day you don't eat any meat. You just have just maybe fresh fruits and vegetables for that day, and you just or maybe there's one day where you decide that you're going to eat maybe from 11 until 4, just compact everything into a few hours, and then you don't eat for the rest of the day. Or maybe you just want to go like a 24-hour fast. And like I said, I will post that video so you get a little bit more detail from it. But you can gauge your fast to suit your body, because I understand that with some people and their health challenges that you might have, it's going to be harder. And I totally understand that. But your body does need to detox. It does help to detox the body, because when you take the time when you give the body a chance to detox, that is actually improving your health. Things out of your system, give it a clean slate to start working on. Okay. And tip number 10. Again, it just seems really obvious, but not too many people are actually doing this. Is to just pursue your passions. What is it that you love to do? Do you love to paint? Do you love to draw? Do you love to sculpt? Whatever it is that you like to do. Maybe you like to write, but whatever that is, pursue your passions. We've been under lockdown now for how long? I think I've stopped counting. But I have done so much creating during that time. I think for the first week, I created 5 different paintings in a challenge that was set forth for me. And then I also did a 30-day live, and some of you have seen that, the 30 days that I did here on this page. And now I'm leading a group called Lead Your Health. And if you'd like to join, I will post the link below. It's right now we have maybe 7 members. It is a much more intense. The work that we do there is much more intense. So if you're not really ready to rein in and take stock of your health and really, get yourself back on track as far as your health is concerned. And it's not just your health that we're talking about. When I say health, we're talking about your physical health, your mental health, all of the different pillars of your life, because one thing does affect the other. So if you are ready for that particular challenge, Initially, it was going to be for 5 days, and today is actually the 4th day. I'll be going live in the group shortly. But what I think I'm going to do is extend it so that people who would like to join and continue with it can do so. But I'm warning you, it's a lot of work, and the thing is, you cannot get healthy without actually doing the work. Okay? But I hope you've enjoyed these quick 10 tips to improve your digestive system. Like I said, I will go into them in a little bit more detail, but in separate videos. If you have any questions, simply post them in the comment section below, and I will answer them as quickly as I possibly can. In the meantime, if you would like to join Lead Your Health, I will post the link, and you can simply click join, and I will get a notification saying that you're asking to join, and I will invite you. Okay? Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me either privately or simply post a question here in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again real soon on another episode of Create with Gina, as well as Lead Your Health.